Tucked behind the milk carton in our fridge, I found a love note not meant for me, a whispered secret in my wife's handwriting that turned our kitchen into a stage for heartbreak. I caught my cheating wife when I found romantic notes in our fridge. I stood in the quiet of our suburban Chicago kitchen, the hum of the fridge the only sound at 2 a.m. after a restless night. I'd woken up craving a glass of water, but what I found changed everything. Behind the milk carton, wedged between a jar of pickles and an old yogurt container, were folded notes, small, delicate, written in my wife Sarah's elegant script. The first read, "To my forever, your smile lights my world. Meet me tonight at the pier. S." My name isn't Forever, and I hadn't been to the pier in years. My heart sank as I unfolded another. "Every moment with you feels like a dream. Can't wait to escape again. S." These weren't for me, Mark, a graphic novelist who'd spent the last decade building a life with Sarah, a school librarian with a passion for poetry. We'd always been the couple who left little notes for each other, sweet reminders on the counter or in lunch bags. But these were different, laced with an intimacy that didn't match our routine love. Sarah had been distant lately, blaming stress from a new teaching program, but the notes painted a different story. I checked her phone while she slept, a risk I'd never taken before, and found texts to a number labeled T, arranging late-night meetups at the pier. T was Thomas, a colleague she'd mentioned in passing, now clearly more than a coworker. I confronted her the next morning, the notes spread across the kitchen table like a confession. Her eyes widened, then filled with tears as she sank into a chair. "Mark, I didn't want you to find out like this," she whispered. Thomas was a poetry enthusiast she'd met at a workshop, and their shared passion had spiraled into an affair. The fridge notes were her way of keeping the romance alive, hidden in plain sight. She begged for forgiveness, saying she'd ended it, but the trust was gone. I moved to the guest room, our home a shell of its former warmth. Days turned to weeks, and I threw myself into my novel, channeling the pain into a story of a man betrayed by words. Sarah tried to reconnect, leaving her own notes, apologies, pleas, but I couldn't read them without seeing Thomas's shadow. One evening, I found her in the kitchen, crying over a poem she'd written for me years ago, framed on the fridge. She'd kept it all this time, a reminder of our love. It broke me open, the memory of our early days flooding back, late-night talks, her laughter over my terrible cooking. As I stood there, the fridge humming softly, I pulled Sarah into a hug, her tears soaking my shirt. The notes that shattered us also led us back, to a raw, honest place where love had to be rebuilt. We decided to try counseling, not for the past, but for the chance at a future where her words could heal instead of hide. That night, I wrote a new note for her, slipping it behind the milk. "To my Sarah, let's write our story together again, M." The fridge, once a vault of secrets, became our promise to start anew, its quiet hum a heartbeat of hope.